us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Laura. It's a great day for America.
So it's a historic day, first time in 30 years. The last time was during the Reagan administration. Tell me the mood in the West Wing today after a long battle.
I think all of us just felt very grateful. Grateful for the president's strong leadership. Here's someone who literally ran on a commitment to revive the American economy, to make sure that the forgotten men and women of this country were forgotten no more. And I watched this president all year long as he fought not only for the largest tax cut in American history, which passed today, but for the kind of regulatory reform, rolling back federal red tape, the kind of releasing of American energy, all the things that have already revived the American economy. But to be here for the largest tax cut in the history of the country, the kind of tax reform we haven't seen for 31 years, and at the same time to repeal the individual mandate in Obamacare and open up ANWR to environmentally responsible drilling is it's just humbling for me to be a part of it.
Republicans are always known to be deficit hawks, but this legislation, by most estimates, does increase the budget deficit by about $1.5 trillion. What about that over 10 years? How concerned are you about that? And does that mean we're going to be tackling entitlements, as Paul Ryan always is wanting to do?
Well, I can tell you, I mean, the need for the Congress to always look for ways to tighten its belt is a real priority for President Trump. But the estimates of deficits here are all based on some pretty predictable growth estimates going forward.
Tax Policy Foundation says it does take into account growth.
Yeah.
Even if the tax cuts are permanent, they say it adds about 1.4, 1.5
That's right, but I got to tell you, President Trump really believes, we all do, that by letting the American people keep more of what they earn, by letting middle-income Americans have more spending power, by lowering taxes on businesses large and small, that we're going to outperform those growth projections, and we're going to see those deficits overcome by growth, but also by exercising the kind of fiscal responsibility that President Trump has been driving for since the first day of this administration.
Why is the public not with this bill, though? Polling, which, I'm doubtful of some of the polling, but pretty much every poll puts it between about 33% and 42% a popularity of this legislation. How do you guys go out now to every part of the country and sell this as a tax cut for the middle class, even though the top 20% do get the lion's share of the relief?
Well, as the president did today on the South Lawn, we're going to continue to make the case for this middle class miracle. I mean, when the president laid out a vision for historic tax relief this year, he basically said, we want to cut taxes for every American.
Do you have some work to do here to sell this?
I think maybe a little bit. I got to tell you, when the American people start to see more in their paychecks in February, and they're going to start to realize that the president's vision here, that this middle-class miracle that was passed today by the Congress was an idea whose time has come, and I really do believe that it's going to sell itself.
Carried interest benefits hedge funds. They get to have their profits taxed at a much lower rate than most Americans. That survives in this legislation. That doesn't seem like you're kind of taking this new approach to the big hedge fund force in the United States. I understand the president wanted it out of the legislation. Which Republicans demanded that it stay in?
Well, look, the president would have been happy to see it come out, but
did he go to the mat on that? Because why should hedge fund guys get this continued benefit of a low tax rate? How does that look to the middle class?
Well, I think what the president went to the mat on was really just advancing that vision that he articulated this spring for tax relief. This economy is already rolling at 3% growth, which people told the president during the campaign.
They laughed at him.
They laughed. They said it would take years to get to 3%. He got there by the third quarter of this year, and we're continuing to see growth. But I truly do believe that you're going to see companies that had too many incentives in our old tax code to take jobs overseas, and you're going to start seeing jobs coming back to this country. You're going to see trillions of dollars pouring back into this country, investing in American jobs and American workers, and we're going to see our economy expand like never before.
Are you surprised, Mr. Vice President, that you didn't get one Democratic vote? Not one.
Yes. Yes, I am, actually.
I find that to be actually stunning, even as partisan as things are.
Yeah.
Not a single. And was there anything that Republicans could have done. Joe Manchin said it was all behind closed doors, which is not accurate. But he said he had a list of things that were never considered.
Yeah, Laura, look, I watched President Trump bring Democrat members of the House and the Senate to the White House.
So what didn't work?
For meetings, for meals, to sit down, to say, we want to work with you. Well, when you have the majority of the members of the Senate, Democrats in the Senate, sign a letter last summer taking themselves completely out of the equation, that's a disappointment, not just to our administration, but to the American people. The American people want to see the Congress work together. And I promise you, you know this president well. He's going to continue to reach out across the aisle. We're going to take on issues like welfare reform and infrastructure next year to rebuild America.
You want Paul Ryan to stay.